All right. Hi guys. We're back again for the Q&A segment of the UWIAS Elections 2020. Again, if you are able to see this right now as we're going live, that should be happening. But this would be posted after all the candidates are questioned. After all the candidates are questioned, rather, and you guys will be able to look and see their responses. Also, based on the time slots in the description box below. So check out the description box, and you'll be able to see the time slots of when each candidate is being questioned. So yeah, that's it. We also have we also have the sitting executive board behind the scenes right now. I'm gonna put up a few of them so they can come on and say hi. Of course, some of them are candidates as well, but I'm gonna put them up right now for them to come say hi. Stand by, guys. I'm gonna add you to the stream right now. Just a quick 2 seconds hide, giving Donjah some time to prepare. I see Donjah behind the scenes as well in the waiting room. So yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome back to
Hi.
session.
Hi guys. That's it. Okay. All
Stay
right.
safe.
Stay safe. Okay. All right. So let's jump straight into things. I'm gonna add Donjah, and we're gonna go ahead with our questions. And again, exec members, if you have any questions, just indicate same in the private chat, and I will add you to the stream so you can pose your question there as well. Alrighty, so Donjah, questions. Hi Donjah, welcome back, welcome back. Questions from the exec. Okay, I have the first question, right? So we know that for the last semester, semester 1 and semester 2, there were 66 attainable points for EAC activities. And based on our database, you have 0 points. So how can I be sure that if I vote for you, you'll actually show up for EAC activities, given the current track record?
All right, thank you for that question. Firstly, I would like to say that based on my religious beliefs, I am a Seventh-day Adventist, and as such, activities that would have taken place on a Saturdays, which would include the whole project and projects like those, I would not have been able to participate in based on my belief. Other than that, activities that I wouldn't have participated in my absence, that persons are out there, that persons are made available to go and to participate in these different projects and activities.
So don't you think that would pose an issue in terms of in charge? Of course, we are our own religious beliefs, but don't you think that would be an issue in terms of not being able to turn up on Saturdays, given all our events, mainly the 5Ks and other events that we have, they're mainly done on Saturdays. So how do you, if you're elected, apart from sending out the members, do you think you can do anything else in with respect to not being able to come out on Saturdays?
Right. So currently we have where majority of our outreach and stuff is done on a Saturday. I would institute more outreach activities that can be done whether during the week or on other days that I would be able to participate. And not only that, I know that I would have a team, including the deputy AAC and of course the AAT committee, that I would be able to trust in the events that I would not be able to attend, because a leader doesn't have to necessarily lead from the front. I agree though that I would need to be present, and as such, I would try my best to find other activities that I could participate in.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Donjah. Speaking on the issue of participation, It's always been hard to get people to show up for events that occur on the weekends, especially given, for example, the church service. Last year we had our church service, it was clearly a Sunday, and only the current exec members show up. And other Saturday activities that we have, people don't really show up because it's a Saturday, you go to school for 5 days, and that's the only really quote unquote free time that you'll be able to get. So how do you plan to rally up our members in terms of getting them out to activities on Saturday, or how do you see fit the best way to remedy this situation?
All right, thank you. One thing that I'm sure we've always say, reward sweeten labor. So as I would have said in my speech, is that I would initiate an award for the person that participates in the most activity, and not only that, in the advertising of these activities, I would put more effort into it, because it can be sometimes, oh, one person just comes and says, guys, we have this, or guys, we have that. I think more advertising should be put into it. So I would institute that if I am elected.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions from the Savannah or current ESC? Any question? If you have same, just indicate in the private chat and I can add you to, oh yes, okay, go ahead. I'm gonna remove.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Sav.
All right, so you mentioned that you're unable to attend things on Saturdays. That's fine. I get that you have church, so we're not going to address that. You said that what you don't want to institute is more weekday activities. That was actually one of my main points when I was running for EAC. When I looked over all the schedules, I realized that the only time where everyone was available was Friday. Hence, I initiated the Hope Valley Project. Even though it had a good turnout to some extent, not everybody came. So with that in place, I want to know, what do you know about the Hope Valley Project? And since you didn't participate this year, how would you get people? Like, why didn't you? And how would you get other people to do it? Seeing that you would have your reasons, how would you change promoting it to other people so that more people can come?
All right, thank you. So I know about the Hope Valley Project. It's done on a Friday at the primary school. I think the time was 2 to 5 thereabout. Right. So the reason why I didn't participate in that is because, one, I don't come to school on a Fridays, and so because of other reasons, so I didn't. That was last semester, so I had to. Being there would pose a challenge. How I plan to get persons, because I think apart from that, I would have been, as I would have told you, that I was interested to be a part of it. So I think just getting the whole idea of service and giving back out there, and as I said, to just get people on that track, that I would get people to come out.
All right.
And
Sorry,
and
continue.
also persons are of the impression, oh, I have to be smart, because how am I going to teach the people? Persons have that impression. So to take away that notion that, oh, you have to be smart or whatever, or stuff like that, I would take away that notion to make it sure that everybody is able to participate.
All right. Another question. Even though you're not able to attend the 5Ks on Saturdays, they're predominantly on Saturdays. What I have always encouraged is that people sign up to contribute to the cause, even though you can't make it. So another thing I'm putting to you: how can you encourage people to sign up? And keep in mind the methods that I have used before, and try to come up with something new, because it hasn't worked for everybody, obviously.
Okay, so I think a reward system can be put in place. As I said, the person that participates in the most activities, or if it is that when they do participate, that there's some form of reward. Because I mean, if we look at it practically, if persons aren't able to participate in something, they will be less likely to give towards it. So in some way, to provide some form of reward, or some form of um, to just show that whatever they do is appreciated and recognized.
Mm-hmm. All right. Last question. You said you were speaking about opportunities with companies at the beginning of your speech.
Right.
Yeah. What ideas do you have in that regard?
I think this year, from what I've seen as a member of the club, there weren't really many opportunities where you would have interacted with possible employers or persons. I know that at the dinner we would have representatives from the different places there. Unfortunately, that is cancelled for this year. So I think providing more opportunities, for example, probably a career fair or a job fair where we have different representatives from the companies coming in, seeing we're able to more interact with them, get a better feel of the industry and of everything else.
All right, that's it for me. Thank you, Dania.
No problem.
All right. Hi again, Donjah. It's me. Another question is that what plans or initiatives will you implement that would add something strongly to the outreach project? Because, we already have 5Ks, we already have the helping hand. What else can you bring to the table if you are elected as the EAC?
All right, so I think outreach is sometimes overlooked, is looked at as helping somebody who is less fortunate. But I think outreach also goes out to each of us, to our neighbor. So even though we might be in AXA and we think that, oh, outreach can be done. So as I would have said in my speech where I would be instituting the review sessions, that would be done to help us. So that would be our outreach to one another, as to also with our outreach to the public. I would institute visitation to homes, not only where we get to go and assist in terms of our ability to help with math or English, but to just go out and to provide a sense of acceptance, or to provide people with a sense that they're not alone in there. Because sometimes being in a home, you might feel, oh, nobody is there, nobody cares for you. So going to those homes, and especially homes with teenagers or with young adults or age, they're able to see that we're on the same level as them. We see what they go through, and if any events, we're able to help them.
All right, thank you so much. We have Jadian, or Assistant Secretary. She has a question for you, okay?
Okay.
Hi, Daniel. You
Hi,
mentioned
Gideon.
incentivizing attendance to the EAC activities. What kind of
Mhm.
rewards do you have in mind apart from our existing point system and Member of the Month recognition?
All right. So the member of the month recognition that we instituted last year, it started off well in the first month, but I realized that eventually we fell off on that. So that is one thing that we could make more consistent, and not only just the member of the month, because the member of the month would go right across the board. So not only in terms of service, but to have something specific to service or to the participation in the outreach or voluntary activities. I think that would be one way, in conjunction with the point system, as well as to have small encouragement that would appeal to people, because as you know, sometimes just knowing that you're able to do that for someone else can help you. So I think just the little things will make them more receptive to the idea.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Shemar Henry has a question for you. I'm looking for his icon. Here you
Hi, Danya. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So you mentioned the implementation of a service award, and
Right.
in doing so, I believe you'd have to collaborate with your fellow executives for the year on that, mostly your treasurers, as will be something that they'd have to fund. And my question is, what if they do not entirely agree with that idea? Supposing that the funds are low to support such an initiative, and furthermore, suppose this initiates a strife between you and the treasurer. What will be your way of remedying the situation so as to ease the tension and find a better solution to this entire problem then?
Okay. So At the end of the day, we're one executive, we're one body, we're one UWIAS. So in the event where I wouldn't let it reach to a point where it would cause a strife or a indifference between us. We all would have our different ideas and we would put them on the table. And when we weigh the pros and cons, if it is that funding is a problem, options can be looked at, such as fundraisers, probably sponsorship for the award, other opportunities to fund the award will be looked at. And if it is that that specific idea, that specific award might not be possible based on whatever constraints, that other ideas will be put out on the table and that we can all come to one consensus as to what would be the best option.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Shamar. And the last question that I have for you, Donjah, is that you have on your resume that you worked at Yellow Media JA. How do you think that would help you in your role as EAC?
Okay, so being employed at Yellow Media Jamaica, I was introduced to a vast variety of opportunities of ideas. Yellow Media is one who is very strong in outreach. So being there and seeing their different ways of going about stuff, I was able to participate in some of that as well. So that I believe has given me the opportunity to be able to carry out this task, not only in the whole sense of time management, in the whole sense of responsibilities and carrying out my tasks. I believe that they have allowed me to learn from those experiences and that it would benefit me in this role as EAC.
Thank you so much. I don't think we have any more questions. Well, thank you so much and all the best for your Vice President question and answer.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so the next candidate we have is Gabrielle Meghie. She's gonna go through the same protocol with respect to question and answer. I'm just gonna give her a couple minutes to join. She should be here shortly. But yes, the only downside with this being posted after is that we aren't able to directly interact with you guys to have some feedback. Okay, Gabby's here. Okay, I'm gonna add her to the stream. Hi, Gabby.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm okay.
All right, so Savanah, you want to go first or should I go first? Okay, I'm gonna add Savanah and she'll question you first.
Hi, Gabby.
Hi.
All right. So, in your speech, you mentioned that you'd want to visit a golden age home, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I had the idea last year, but when I got feedback from the members, um, a lot of people are iffy with regards to visiting homes, whether it's children's homes or golden age homes. So, I'm wondering if you have any idea to incentivize them to come in.
I guess I just encourage them, or maybe like as an exec, we could go first. Like an exec body, we could go first, and then afterwards, we like show them what we did there and show them how much like the elderly persons appreciated what we did there with them. And then maybe after seeing the experience, maybe afterwards, then more persons would want to come forward in going and helping them.
Mhm. All right. In regards to our current activities, based on our master sheet, the points tracker that we have, you have not participated in much activities this year. You have a total of 3 points, which is for signing up for Sigma 5K. So I'd want to know why you didn't participate as much and how you as EAC could transform the role or transform your, you know, inviting more people, how you can change that so that the incoming first years will be more inclined to participate in the activities.
Okay, for me, it was more personal than not wanting to participate. I would want to get into the reason why, but then I really don't. But it's more of a personal reason
If
why.
it's too personal, you don't have to share it here. You don't have to share it here if it's too personal.
Okay, it's more of a personal reason why I didn't, but I really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I have always, I don't have a problem going to the primary schools to help because I'd love to help the children with math and English. But between the timing and the days, especially I think those are on Friday evenings.
Friday from 2 to 4.
Yes. So, as I said before, I really don't want to go into the reason why.
If it's too personal, don't get into it.
I just encourage them. As I said, I think as an exec we can lead the way. So first, we if it is that persons don't want to participate or are afraid of a certain thing or a certain reason, we can talk to them as an exec board. We can talk to them, see the reasons or the concerns or the reasons why they don't want to go, and just encourage them. As I said, we could go as a group, show them
Mm-hmm.
what it's all about, show them the process, show how it works, show how beneficial it is to other people. And then I think after doing that, then a lot of them would want to come forward because I think a lot of persons really want to give back, but they're just either afraid of going. I think some persons might be too emotional, them no want to go. And then, them emotions get the best of them and them not able to do what they need to do. So I
Mm-hmm.
it's about just like encouraging them and motivating them to go.
All right. Last question that I have for you. Well, a two-part question. You mentioned that there was a time. Well, I think you mentioned something about having the time as well. So second year is much, much harder than first year. And then given the fact that you want to implement a new project, how will you have time to manage this Golden Age Home project, Hope Valley, 5Ks, possibly the whole project that the Guild has and different activities throughout the year? How will you have time to participate, get people to sign up, and organize all these events? Granted, you will have the deputy EAC, so a lot of the work is on you because you will be leading the way.
Okay, coming into UWI is totally different from going into second year. Coming into UWI, I honestly did not expect to find a club or a group of persons where I'd say, okay, I'd necessarily dedicate my time to, or that I would find such a family with. But now
Mm-hmm.
that I have that in first year, going into second year, I can more plan and organize myself much better to say, okay, I do this at a certain time, I make time for this. And as Daniel and Celine said, the club is so important and it gives us so much than just going to school and meeting up with everyone. We are really like a family, and I would most likely put the club over academics, like Celine and David said. But
Uh-huh.
I think second year will be much different because I know what to expect. I know what is coming. I know the family that I have, so I'd plan much better. First year,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to expect. I was just going in there, and yes, I think second year would be much better in terms of time management because now I know what what is there, and I know what I need to manage my time between, so it will be much easier.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that's all from me. Before I go, while it's good to put the exec as a top priority, still keep up with the work here. Okay.
All right. So my question for you is that it's always been an issue to get people to come out to activities that we have on Saturday. And as you know, Saturday is the main day that we have majority of our ESC activities, such as the 5Ks. How do you plan, or what do you plan to do different to get more people out to these activities, to get them involved more in the ESC portfolio?
Like I said to Savannah, I think as an exec board, we just have to lead the way. We just have to show them what it is all about. I think, as I said before, I think a lot of persons really want to participate. They just have many different reasons or concerns to which they don't come or they don't put themselves out there. But I think if we do it as an executive board, if we show them what it is all about, then I really think that would encourage other persons because I think that if persons see what is happening more than just not knowing and then expecting something, I think that would really push them to want to come. So we could go to for example, the Golden Age Home because more likely it would be on a Saturday. we could go there, we could replay, we can take pictures, make videos, interact with the elderly persons, come back to the meeting on Thursday, show everyone what we did, show all of the pictures and show all of the videos. And I think seeing how the people really appreciate everything that we are doing for them, I think that would really bring a lot of persons into wanting to go or wanting to participate.
All right, thank you so much. And I really like that you brought up those key points because understanding and communication is very important, especially for the ESC portfolio. And our current ESC did an amazing job at that. She rallied all persons. She has 60 plus signups for 5K. So props to you. Big up yourself, Savanah, for that. Any other questions from the exec? Any other questions you guys might have? Any other questions before we tell Gabby to go? Let me put Sean on standby. Any other questions, guys? Daneel, you have any question? All right, I think that's supposed to be it. Thank you, Gabby. All the best. We just continue to be doing you and all the best with the future and the voting process. All right, bye.
Guys.
All right, so I'm letting Sean know that we're ready. Join now. Yeah, but Gabby brought up an important point while we're here and waiting on Sean, wow, and Sean to join the stream. Gabby brought up an important point that she's willing to put her self aside for the club, but it is important to always strike a balance. You can't only do club when you come to UWI for a degree. I'm just saying this generally to all our members out there who are watching this right now, not specifically targeting Gabby or anybody, especially to members and candidates alike. All the candidates, this message is for you. Always find a balance, strike a balance, because it will be sad if it's a case where you come to UWI and you aren't able to manage your time well and you have to do an extra year. Nobody wants that. So yeah, that with that being said, just keep the balance and you should be fine. All right, Sean is here. I'm gonna add Sean to the stream right now. Hi Sean,
Hi, evening,
how are
evening.
you?
I'm good, I'm good. How are you?
All right, so my first question for you is that the total points attainable for ESC activities are 66, right? And you only had 3 for both semester 1 and semester 2. How can I be sure that if I vote for you, you'll be able to actually show up for ESC activities given the current track record?
Well, I've always been a firm believer in setting aside time for stuff that I've, been given the responsibility to do. So at the time at the time of semester 1 and semester 2, I wasn't too focused on ESC related activities like the Hope Valley project and stuff like that. Even though I wanted to do them, I didn't quite find the time, but that was only because it wasn't it wasn't very high on my priority. But now it's different because I'm running for this position and it's at the forefront of my mind most nights ever since I was nominated. So I think with that attitude, I'll be there religiously doing what I need to do to fulfill my responsibilities.
So why did it have to take you being nominated for you to actually, think about the club, think about the activities? Because you were there, you were a member, you were active, you were good evening massive tour homecoming championship, but you still weren't there for the ESC aspect. Why is it the case that it's only when you are being nominated that you're actually thinking to step up to the plate?
I think it's because when the conversation of school visits and Hope Valley projects, I was intending to be there for that one, but it's like time was never there for me to set aside because it was on a Friday, and I normally did a lot of my schoolwork that I missed out on a Friday. And then the school visits, at the time, I didn't feel like I had enough knowledge to impart on the younger people. But now it's kind of different because the quarantine has given me a lot of time to reflect on a lot of things that will happen this semester, and I feel like I have more than enough wisdom to impart on these guys, especially when high school was very rigid for me and very busy for me. Balancing track and field and school, I think I can impart a lot of time management skills where that's concerned. I think I'm a great asset where that is. Yeah. Sorry, I can't really hear you.
Oops, I'm sorry, my mic was mute. My mic was muted. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna open the floor to Savanah, or current ESC, so she can pose her questions to you. Okay?
All right.
Hi, Sean. For the position of EAC, I realize that you have a very laid-back personality. Not saying that you need to be like out there and shouting and whatnot, but you need to have some sense of, I don't know, approachability. You need to be able and willing to go to people you never yet talked to before. You need to be able to form these friendships with people, because you can't just go to somebody that you never yet talked to and say, yo, give me $600 and come run on a Saturday night instead of staying in your bed. Relationship has to be there beforehand. So do you think you have that personality to go out and get the people to participate?
Yeah, I believe I have more than enough social skills to conduct that. I only I only never truly exercised it because I thought that there are other people at the time, other people that were better capable of this. But I think I'm confident in myself to do that and to spearhead that as well. Um, my upcoming plans, if I'm to be elected as ESC, would surely help me with that, because I have this idea of having a Lime session or a exercise session every few Thursdays, so people can visualize, people can see how cohesive the group is and would want to be a part of that. And I'd personally go to my way and talk to other people in my classes about it as well. So I think when I'm ready to open up, I will 100% open up, and I'm ready to open up. So
All right.
people, I can do that.
All right, so I'm going to make a comment before I ask my next question. For what I just said, you can't only go to people in your class, you have to go to people in the year above and below you, and sometimes people who are not even in the faculty. You have to be willing to go to strangers and say, yo, you hear about this 5K? Yo, you hear about our project? Yo, this cause is very good. You want to come and help us with it? Yeah. And in regards to time management, you said that in high school, you had a very rigid timetable and thing, and then first year was a lot as well. Second year does not get easier. It gets 3, 5, 10 times harder. And trust me, it's like, I get that if you're used to AXI now, but when you get to second year, you don't know what AXI is. So it's not going to get easier because you're taking on more responsibility. How you plan on managing all of this responsibility?
I plan on kind of doing some introspection first, or continuing to do some introspection first, because I know that I'm a very optimistic person, but I know that there's a big element of realism that is probably even more important than being optimistic. So I think the more I tell myself that, hey, this is big, you're taking on second year plus the running for position. I think knowing that, I can better condition myself to, you know, do the things that I shouldn't be doing in terms of like time wasting and stuff like that. Setting up a schedule for the week would be probably very beneficial as well. And asking for advice from other people who've done it before, that's always one of the like first options to do. Like two, um, you know, there's a lot of things that I've put my mind to that I've done, and I've done it successfully in terms of school and outside of school. It's like going back to track and field again, it changed my life. It taught me that there's a lot of things that people don't do, and it's only because it's very stressful. But if people not do it, they can do it.
All right, that's all from me. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Savanah. Any other questions from our current executive board? If you do have any questions, just say so in the private chat and I will add you to the stream. In the meantime, you know that it's always been an issue to have people to come out to participate to activities on Saturday. How do you plan to get people to come out to Saturday activities or EAC projects?
Well, I tend to use social media as my primary weapon. Apart from going out there physically and telling people about it, I believe that social media is a very good platform to do certain things. And for me personally, I think that my personality will attract people to certain events. I know a lot of my friends are willing to tag along, and I believe in word of mouth. Like if I tell somebody to do something, then they will tell other people to do it. At least I can vouch for my circle of friends, and I feel like um again my personality, I could utilize that as my primary weapon to spread the word. And yeah, I feel like I'm stepping up to the plate with this one. So,
All right, I think that's it. Any other questions from the exec? No? Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Sean. All the best throughout the rest of this election period, okay? Do take care and be safe throughout this COVID-19 time. All right,
same to
bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so Janeil James would have been given her opportunity to answer to a few questions right now, but I had to call her and she's unable to access Wi-Fi at this current moment. So I'm going to call for our current PCC, Shemar Green, for his segment right now, okay? Hi, Shemar.
Hi, Brenna.
Okay, so my first question My first question for you is, how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 based off your exec performance last year? And I think I'm hearing a couple feedback. I don't know if you can turn that down a little bit,
It's
Shemar.
probably the fun. So,
Yeah, you heard my question?
based on you're saying
Performance on the Executive Council for 2019-2020 academic year. How do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most?
probably a 6 because it was my first time doing it, and I really rank myself that high because of Daneel, because she really helped me a lot. So
Okay, so also from your PCC interview back in September, I noted that you are more of a helper than a manager. How would you say, what changed basically? How effectively do you think you can take on the role of actually being the forefront and managing rather than just helping in the background, as you stated that you were good at in your PCC interview?
well, I think throughout the year, the position of PCC has actually helped me to move from necessarily helping to managing, not only through my duties, but seeing you guys on the exec performing your duties, see how it work and everything. That's really helped me a lot.
Okay, all right. Next question is that the PRO is basically the vibes master for the club, right? All about social media and communication person. And from working with you, I can tell that you have a more laid back personality, almost borderline introverted. How do you think you'll be able to break out of your shell in order to be the face of the club, in order to be the vibes, in order to be that person who everybody sees when they think of PRO? How are you going to change that aspect about yourself in order to effectively do the job if elected?
Well, generally, I would say I'm pretty much an introverted person, but to my friends, I would be more extroverted. I just try and bring that so other people can see, because other people have seen over the course of my second year where I can be that person. So I just try to show it more. In your hat,
How would you show it though? How can you be able to fill the big ass shoes? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say ass, but how are you able to fill that shoes that Danny left behind because she did a marvelous job?
I would just, well, not only follow in her footsteps, but try to implement my ideas, the GREN, as I stated before, and hopefully that will work. And if I fall short in anything, I know I have a great exec body to help me.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna open the floor to Daneel. Daneel, are you ready with your questions? I see you nodding. Okay, I'm gonna add you to the stream, okay?
Okay, hi Shamar. My question is, in your mandate, you said that or Twitter/Snapchat presence. Can you hear me by the way?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, you mentioned upping our Twitter and Snapchat presence. I understand the Snapchat 100%, but with the Twitter, I have been asking people to follow us. I've been tweeting. People just aren't as interactive on Twitter as they are on Instagram. So I just want to know if you have any specific plans, how you plan to up our Twitter engagement.
Well, first of all, I would use the Instagram as the primary driver to get followers on that. And one thing that I know personally about Twitter is you can go on there, your followers really gonna be your friends, but to get more people, you have to either you share your funny pictures or you tweet on current stuff. So I would try to do that. And then, as I said in my GRE, enacting, sorry, empowering the PR committee, I would try include them in that because other people have ideas as well, and who knows, they might come up with something just as effective.
Okay, with your speech, the latter part of the end, nourishing relationships among the alumni. Could you repeat how you said you plan to do that, please?
Well, I said UWI and alumni. The UWI part would have been more interclubbing, and the alumni part, currently we have a few months of acts, which I did, I think it were like 3 installments of it. I would try
Mm-hmm.
up those more to not only include, because we did, I believe, Sam,
And
Kirk,
Kirk.
Sam and Kirk. Okay, so I would try and not only let it be the students and the teachers, but I would reach out to alumni so they could share a part of their journey, basically, so we could see how they reach to that successful level.
Okay, and hold on, I think I have another question. Okay, just honing in on Brianna's point. I am your friend, so I know how funny you are, how funny in quotation, right? But I know the sociable side of you. And you said you would try to bring it out, but like I'm still not hearing how you plan to do that. Like convince is it the same way how I know you are this extroverted individual? How do you plan to get our members to know that? Like what else we're gonna do?
Well, okay, so for example, there's a club meeting. Usually I would just either sit at the front or help you guys with whatever. Because I've been more of a leadership role, I would start engaging more, sitting with some of the ex,
Mm-hmm.
talking more, become friends with them, and just, well, I guess when I was PCC, I was more behind the camera, so I would just try and be more in front of the camera, interacting.
Okay. Thank you, Shamar. Brianna, that's my last question.
All right.
All right, thank you, Daniel. Okay, I have another question for you. You said that you in your manifesto you're planning to expand the reach on YouTube. We all know that Aksai is no joke. It's a lot of work. It's very hard, and I can say from personal experience because I have my own um channel thing. So I know it's hard and the amount of work that needs to be put into being effective in terms of posting and expanding our reach through gaining subscribers. How do you plan that? How do you plan to do that given the current situation with our very demanding degree?
Well, that's why originally when I thought of the idea, I was thinking of maybe each meeting showing a highlight, but in my speech, I said it would be every month where it would just be a short, not talking any 10 minutes something, but just a short compilation of the highlights from our events. So say we go Hope Valley, say we go Digital 2K, 5K, and the club meetings, I would just show those highlights in a short video to showcase the club.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Any other questions from our exec? You can just reply in the comment section. Also, our treasurers, they're going to be up next. So I'm going to tell the current treasurer to join us as well for her questions. All right, thank you, Shemar. All the
Thank
best.
you, Brianna.
I have to kick you because we need to add Janeil.
You want to kick me?
Yeah, because we need to add
Oh,
Janeil. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, Alyssa, you're already here, so I'm gonna add you to the stream. Hi, Alyssa.
Hi.
How are you?
Nervous?
All right. Okay. While we wait on Janeil, I can start with my few questions. How would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, your performance on last or this year slash last year's executive board?
Okay, I would give myself an 8. I think I was very organized and I tried to prioritize my duties as assistant treasurer. Where I think I could have done better would be to involve more persons in the duties that come with being treasurer, for example, or fundraising activities, making use of the treasury committee so there was less of a burden on the other exec, and also getting ideas from other members in the society.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Another question is that as assistant treasurer, what was one of the biggest challenges you faced in that position?
Being assistant treasurer, uh, I I don't feel that there was anything that was particularly too challenging. Um, but I knew going in, and what happened was that my duties required a lot of time, but I feel like I'm good with managing my time. So I was able to balance school and my duties, and I was able to give the time that was needed in order to complete them.
Okay. And also, I want to note that over the summer, you had to perform as treasurer for the club as well. I would just want to hear your thoughts on that and how did you feel being able to given that opportunity, especially since now that you're vying for that position again?
Okay. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice getting the experience, getting to know what it's like to actually be treasurer. Um, it requires being on the ball at all times, knowing what needs to be done, how it's going to be done. And I feel like the short time that I had being treasurer, I would be very capable of doing that in a way that is beneficial for the club and our members.
Okay. All right. Janelle, I see you here on standby. I'm going to add you so you can ask her your questions.
Hi, Janelle. I okay.
I only have one question.
I
Name
can't
one.
really hear you that well.
You hearing now?
A little better.
No.
The sound is kind of low.
Better.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Name one thing that you could have improved. That's the only question.
All right. So what I was saying before was that I think that I could have involved more people in the club in our
Mm-hmm.
fundraising activities. So making use of the treasury committee so that other persons could help out with like manning manning our table for our bake sales and manning our table for our bake sales and the other fundraising activities that we had, getting them involved. And I think um, something I also said before, getting ideas from other people in the club and their feedback on what we've been doing.
Okay, good. That's the only question.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Janeil. I just want to ask if the current exec have any questions for Alyssa. You can indicate so again in the private chat, but in the meantime, I have a question. So if there's a case where you misplace a large sum of the club's money, how would you deal with that per se?
If I misplaced the club's money.
Yes, whether it was stolen from you, whether you lost it, whether you spent it by accident, just misplacement in some way, shape, or form. How would you deal with that?
Okay, so first thing I would make honesty reign. So I would let the exec know how much I lost, exactly how I lost it, and then I would ask for your opinions on how we all think that we should deal with the situation. My priority would try to, if it's as a result of me that the money was lost, then I would definitely try to pay that back. But if I'm unable to, then in whatever way the exec suggests that I should be punished or I should make reparative actions, then I would do that.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to open the floor to Shemar Henry. He is our current vice president, but he was also an assistant treasurer. So I'm gonna add him to the chat so he can ask you any questions that he might have. Henry, your mic is mute. Unmute your mic so we can. Oh my God, unmute your mic so we can hear your questions.
Hello,
Hi.
hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that you want to involve more of a treasury committee per se, right?
Right.
So, and I know you tend to be an introverted person. So, how do you exactly tend to really grab the attention of various members and individuals so that they may be a part of your committee, so that they can help lessen the burden, as you said before?
Okay. Yeah, definitely coming into UE, I was a very reserved person, but I feel like within the past year that I've been assistant treasurer, I've been able to interact more with our members. Um, just like doing the due sips and so on, I learn people's names, and that basically gives me an opportunity to start conversations with people. And so I've definitely put more of an effort to not only interact with our members in all years, but also to be a helping hand to them. So I definitely feel like with the relationships that I built so far and the relationships that I will build if elected, I'll be able to call on other people who I see have potential and who are willing to help the club. And of course, we have social media, so having a WhatsApp group with the persons who have shown interest. So before we did Google Forms to find out who was interested. So I do that again and then have a WhatsApp group that allows me to communicate with them and also to just watch the participation and involvement of our members in the club and to see who is actually interested in helping us.
Okay. Just have one more thing.
Okay.
In your speech, you mentioned some innovative ideas. I'm not sure if you mentioned exactly what they were, but could you give me an idea of what those innovative ideas would be?
All right. So some of my ideas are related to exploring more fundraising options that don't have startup costs. So we did the snow cone and popcorn sale, which started before us, and something that I helped to institute was the walkathon. And so I would want to explore more options like that. Currently, I haven't found any other ideas or activities that I see are feasible for us. But that's where I would like to include my exec as well as the members of the club to see what ideas they think would do us well. And I'm also interested in doing more things with our merchandise. So if there is a demand, expanding it and adding hoodies and hats, but also getting rid of whatever items or members aren't interested in or feel are too expensive to buy.
Okay. I believe that's all for me at this moment.
All right, so any other questions from the current exec? I don't think you guys have any other questions. So thank you, Alyssa. All the best with the voting process and the rest of the elections.
Thank you
All
very much.
right, while we wait on Deandra to join us, I just want to make a note that Janeil James, candidate for PRO, I'm not sure if I said it before, but she's currently unable to have access to Wi-Fi, which is crucial in order to join us on this live right now. So whenever she's able to access Wi-Fi, for the PRO question and answer, we will add her, whether it's after all the questions are finished, but we'll ensure you guys that we will get your questions across and we'll thoroughly examine the candidates in due order. Okay, so I see Deandra. Hi, Deandra. Welcome, welcome,
Hi,
welcome.
can you
All
hear
right.
me?
Yeah, man, you're good. I can hear you clear. All right, so my first question. If there's a case where you misplace a large sum of the club's money, how would you deal with that?
Well, I think that we kind of just have to make an effort to do things for the club. So I would admit it to you guys that, well, not you, but the future exec. That's not something I would hide, and I would try my best to get sponsorship to then replace the funds because we all make mistakes, and I can't just beat myself up about it. Like I have to replace it, and I have to tell you guys.
Okay. All right. So in your speech, you noted that you already have funding for the exec shirt. I'm wearing mine currently. So if it's a case where you don't get elected for treasurer or assistant treasurer, would you be willing rather to still donate that money towards getting the shirts done at no cost to the society?
I think the society is just a good project in itself, just helping out persons, especially like me coming in, I wasn't sure about it. So I'm still passionate about the club. I'd still help to try and get that money to you guys.
Okay. Another question. You have that. Okay, I'll ask this one. If there's a case where the funds are being mismanaged by the president, how would you deal with that?
Funds be okay. Um, I think it would be a meeting that we'd have to have with the rest of the exec. So it couldn't be my choice. But I think with the help of the other exec, we should have a safeguarding, what do you call it? We should have a way to safeguard the funds. So it's not just one person deciding how the money would be spent. And I would encourage my exec to do for this so that it's not just one person running the thing.
Okay. Another question. For the dues, you have stated that the packaging it's terrible and you'd like to change our packaging. To be very honest, the dues envelope, those are the most cost-effective way of going about that, and it actually lasts. So what exactly do you have planned to replace that would be of the same cost range as the dues envelopes are currently?
Okay, well, fortunately for me, I have access to printing. Like I can print, so I have access to printing, right? So I would want to change maybe the color of the folders, the envelopes, and have them white with something printed on it. And for me, that's I wouldn't charge the club for that because I'm so passionate about it. I would print on the envelopes like maybe the theme for the week or have them in the all right. So you remember for or shadow exec meeting, we had a different slip. I already asked for the document with that and I already have that. So moving forward, the slips would now look like that, which were a lot more put together. And then the outside, I could have stuff printed on it as well.
Thank you. Janelle, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Janelle, you have any questions for her? I'm gonna add you to the stream, Janelle, our current treasurer.
Okay.
Janelle, you have questions?
Yeah, I do.
Hi.
Um, Hello. All right. So I'm sure you've heard that second year can be very difficult, and you're going in second year. You're in, right?
Mhm.
Tell me how you plan to manage your schoolwork and the club's activity, because at the end part of the semester, it's a lot of work to be done. So tell me how you plan to manage all that.
Well, luckily for me, managing my extracurricular activities with school is not new to me. Like throughout high school, I was the secretary and I was secretary for the swim team and treasurer for math club in the same year. And the following year, I was both VP for math club and the swim team at Campion. And now in my first year at UA, I also did taekwondo and I managed to grade in taekwondo while I was going throughout the school year. So balancing that stuff is not hard for me. But outside of that, even if it gets too much for me, I do have friends. I have an excellent support system that will help me in case I fall off and I'm not able to go to classes. But I will put my effort into the club and I know I'll be okay.
Okay. All right. So other question. Other than the typical cake sales, what are your other ideas?
All right, I said it. The car wash was one, but what I didn't get to mention in my speech was I was thinking about doing a karaoke meeting, and we would invite lecturers in math department to come and give me their best tune. It would be a pay to enter event. It wouldn't be that expensive, but it would at least be another fundraiser for the year. With the car wash too, I already was seeking out how I could get it done, so that's something I'd want to do, and I know it's something that persons in SciTech would support.
Um, do you have any plans of any fundraising activities without a startup cost other than the car wash? Well,
The
for the car
karaoke.
wash, you're going other than the karaoke and the car wash. For the car wash, you're going to need to buy soap and
And
other
what?
good stuff. But
Yeah.
any think about any other, because all right, the fact that you said that you have to speak to the other persons about the car wash, what is something that you know can be get done, like to just have an exit meeting and like the president say yes you can do that, more than you have to speak to science and technology rep. What is some, yes, that's the
I
question.
mean, in the whole karaoke thing, it would not be much. It would not be a cost to us at all because it would be a regular meeting where we do have the speakers and the facility to display the words on the screen already. So that would just be like a regular meeting. It would only be up to inviting the lecturers.
Okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Janelle. I have another question regarding the karaoke. How would that raise funds? How can we charge a member to come to regular meetings apart from the dues?
I think persons, especially second and third year, are very appreciative of the club and what they do, and we would express to them that this year, going, as I said, sponsorships are going to be very difficult this year. So I think with advertising in the various groups and getting persons to invite their friends, getting club members to invite their friends to come out and support, and especially because I don't plan to make it an expensive event, I think it could be done.
All right, so my last question for you is that you noted that in your speech that you would increase the point allotment towards dues. That is kind of a difficult situation, especially given that we have measures in place so that members can quote unquote buy their way into the club. I just want to have a little bit more idea of what you exactly plan to do that, how you exactly plan to do that.
That's okay. So I had a limit, right? So it would be $50. I mean, a point for every $50 that you do donate, but it's after $300, you cannot get any additional points for paying more. That was my safeguard so that persons do not pay their way into membership.
Okay, all right. Any other questions from the exec before we leave? Alyssa, do you have any questions? Oh wait, no, Alyssa is not here. I'm so sorry. Any other questions from the current exec? Shemar Henry? Henry, any questions? As you were assistant treasurer in your past life? No questions? Okay, all right, Deandra, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us and all the best for your future endeavors and,
Alicia wants to
yes.
add something.
Oh, Alyssa, okay, sure. Go ahead. Oop, wrong person. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, hi Deandra. The question
Hi.
I have is if you're elected to be assistant treasurer, how do you think that would affect relationship with whoever is elected treasurer, and do you think you'll be able to handle being in a, let's say, inferior role, or being, yeah.
I thought about that too, and I think whatever happens is just meant to happen. So if it is that I do get assistant treasurer, I think it was meant probably because I know the workload for second year is difficult, and I would still go forward and help however I could with being in the position. I don't think I'm very competitive. Even to do this was kind of difficult for me to do. I think I'll be fine with it. Actually, I know I'll be fine with it, and I'll still be happy with the position.
Right. Thank you. That's it.
All right, thank you so much, Deandra, and all the best with the rest of the election period. And yeah, keep safe in this COVID-19 times. All
Thank
right,
you.
bye. All right, so our next presenter is Jordan Ashman. He should be here shortly. I thought we didn't have any more questions, so I told him to join, but yes, he's here. I see him in the waiting room right now. Hi, Jordan. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi,
All right, so
thank you.
my first question for you is that if there's a case where you misplace a large sum of the club's money, how do you plan to deal with that?
Misplaced the club's money.
Yeah,
Well,
misplaced in terms of whether. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
no, you can continue. I want to hear the
Okay,
explanation.
misplaced in terms of whether somebody stole it from you, or you lost it, or you spent it by accident, or just some other mishap that you won't be able to have the money to give to us. I like a large sum of money. How would you deal with that?
Well, as stated in my speech, I promise to secure and safeguard the funds as best I can. So it's very unlikely that that is to happen. But in the unlikely circumstance that that does happen, I plan to have a budget in place at the beginning of the term for unforeseen circumstances. So I'll try as best as possible to recoup that from the allocated funds.
Okay. All right. A follow-up question. If there's a case where the funds are being mismanaged by the president, how would you deal with that?
Mismanaged by the president.
Yes. How would you deal with
Well,
that situation if you're elected as treasurer?
well, I promise to be a treasurer with honesty and integrity. So I would make my board members aware of the situation. But as stated, I'm also an analytical person. So I'll be making regular checks on the various bookkeepings and keeping afloat to the financial situation of the club. So if that were to happen, I'd be on top of it as quickly as possible.
Okay. I noted from your speech that you are planning, if elected, to invest portion of our sum in a portion of our monies rather into a unit trust. I, for one, actually have a unit trust account already, and I can say that it's marked to market, and the gains aren't readily recognizable. It's more so of a long-term investment. How do you plan to manage that given the nature of the account, given the fact that we won't be able to have immediate returns when we really need the funds immediately? How do you plan to exactly work around that?
Well, yes, as stated, I'm aware that for the unit trust that it takes patience to see some of the benefits, but it yields better results than a regular bank account for the club. So I propose that, and as stated, I am a creative person, so I have various fundraising activities in place. And even if those are not as successful as initially thought, I'm still confident in the traditional fundraising activities that we have to generate funds, and I'm planning working in coordination with the president to try and incentivize members as to pay membership fees, so as to ensure that we're in good financial standing throughout the year.
All right, thank you so much. I'm going to add our current treasurer, Janeil, to ask you any questions that she might have as a treasurer.
Okay.
Okay, hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
You hearing?
Yeah, I'm hearing.
Okay, all right. So you're going in second year, and you know that you've heard that second year is difficult. How do you plan to manage your schoolwork and club activities?
Yes, I'm aware from speaking to my various my predecessors of the of how difficult second year is, but I'm confident in my time management ability due to my previous experiences in high school, and I have plans in place. I prioritize, so I think it's not going to be easy. I know it won't be easy, but I'm motivated. I'm determined, and I'll try my best to make to do the best I can. Can you hear me?
All right, good. Cake sales. Yeah, I'm hearing. Other than the typical cake sales, what are the other ideas you have for treasury?
Oh, well, as stated in my speech, I have some ideas that were thought of after brainstorming. So, marathons, I'm proposing math marathons prior to examinations to help the first year students where for an affordable fee. They, the sessions can be kept. I've already spoken to some students who will be interested with a great reputation in mathematics. They said they'd be interested in conducting the sessions. And also, as I proposed the unit trust, where it would yield better returns than the bank account, and as well a coin collection where it would be placed in strategic locations. For example, the math department or the entrance to the library, where we know that hundreds of persons pass through every day. So it's a good opportunity to capitalize on coins that people always have around.
All right, good. But for some of those ideas, you have to get what's the word? You have to get permission. So I like your ideas. If you can think about more ideas without startup costs, that will be good. And all the best. I'm done, Brianna.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Janelle. Any other questions from our current exec board? While you guys are deciding on what other questions to ask, I want to note with the coin collection point, that idea, it's a bit tricky, especially since persons we have to, as Janelle said, we have to get approval from the mathematics department in order to just be collecting funds like that, especially if it isn't directly related to a specific cause. So how do you plan to work around that given the possible red tapes that you be in the way?
Well, I plan on speaking to the various. I'm sorry, I'm hearing some disturbance. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you. I'll mute my mic so that you're not disturbed.
Okay, no problem. So with getting permission, yeah, I know that it might not be easy, but I plan on speaking to the various math departments to try, and we may be able to. I could negotiate with them to provide some of the funds to split some of the split some of the money in terms of various equipment. I see there's a problem with markers. I know I observe that many of the math classes they lack markers. The markers are so I could speak to them on various different stuff that we could split the money on. Try as best as possible to negotiate.
All right, so I think this would be the last question for you, but this is coming from Savanah, or current ESC. She's asking that even though the treasurer is a background job, you need to be dynamic enough to reach your UA community during fundraising activities. Do you think you have the personality to be able to comfortably sell and raise the required amount of money that you set out to?
Yes, I do. I'm a very friendly person, and I've been told to be approachable, but it's not a one-man job. I plan to have a team in place, and I plan on working in close coordination with the PRO, so as to make people aware as to our plans. And yeah, it's not a one-man team.
All right, thank you so much, Jordan. I don't think there are any other questions from the current exec. Wait, Alyssa, do you have any questions? Or current assistant treasurer? Do you have any questions, Alyssa? Okay, I'm gonna bring Alyssa on so she can ask you.
Hi, Jordan. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so my question would be, in the event that you're elected as assistant treasurer, how do you think how do you think you'd respond to that? And would it affect your relationship with the person who is elected treasurer and the way you perform your duties?
Oh, that wouldn't be a problem whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I was very impressed with the speeches of both you and Deandra, and I would see it as a learning experience to try and learn the ropes and work in close coordination with you to try and plan as best, because my first priority for the club, I'm here to serve. I just want to help in the best way possible. And whether that's treasurer or assistant treasurer, as long as I can make a contribution, I'm fine with that.
That's all.
All right,
Okay.
thank you,
Thank you.
Alyssa, and all the best to you throughout the rest of this election period. And do please keep safe and COVID-19 free for the rest of the time. Okay. All right. Bye.
Thank you. Same
Enjoy
to
them
you. All right.
safely.
Bye.
Thank you.
Same to you.
Okay, all right. So we have Janeil here, and we are going to ask her the PRO question. She is finally able to have some access to Wi-Fi, so I'm going to add her to the screen right now. Hi, Janeil. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so my first question for you is that basically the PRO is the vibes master of the club, the all about media and communication person. From what I can gather, you're more so on the introverted side. How do you think you'd be able to manage that type of personality in order to do your job effectively if elected as PRO?
Well, I don't think I have to be like on like the loud and outgoing side in order to bring vibes and so forth. If you strategically plan events, they will follow through. It doesn't require much to interact with persons, but while thoroughly planning, I'll be able to carry out that aspect of the job. Thorough planning.
All right, so a question for you. You noted in your speech that you would like to provide grants for students, right? Just give us a little bit more information on that and how do you exactly plan to execute it, given that this doesn't really fall under your jurisdiction per se. Of course, you can also come with ideas, but given that it's
Yeah.
not readily a part of your portfolio, how do you plan to execute?
All right. Well, I do think in the aspects it's like a combination of everyone's job, but it's like you have different organizations around the school that have their own shirts. Like I have a Fluid Children shirt. There's another feeding program shirt. I have the guild has their shirt that they do like for Pink Day and so forth. So I was thinking that we could have shirts that are readily is not something that is too Oxide, but we can have our logo to say, yo, this is from Oxide Club, but something that everyone can relate to, but still like falling under Oxide-ish, like math work thing, or something
I
else
get
that
you.
is. And just as though Kirk sells his shirt and the proceedings go towards this new grant that he has. So I think us having a grant for ourselves, it would be a form of public relations in where our name will be out there, we would be advertised on different platforms so students can be able to get the grant and so forth. So we'll be helping as well as advertising ourselves.
Oh, so you mean you're gonna sell the shirts and then proceed from you're gonna design the shirt, come up with the shirts, and then the proceeds will go towards students.
Probably proceed because we have
Oh,
to
okay.
find we want something to sustain the club as well, but also giving help.
Okay, all right, I'm clear on that now. So I have another question for you. So Daneel, she was an amazing PRO and she's left big shoes for you to fill. What do you plan to do different so that you're able to step up to the plate to continue the tradition and to continue the momentum that she already had started?
Well, my goal is not really to change what Daneel has set in stone so far, but is to build upon what she has done and enhance it. Because when Daneel came in, the thing that she did that was different than her previous PRO was the website and plus the actively interacting on Instagram. So those were those big shoes that she set for. So there's always room for improvements. Like the website is even easy to maneuver. We give her kudos for that. But as I said with the website, what I found lacking was the gallery. So stepping it up a notch for that. The Instagram could use a bit of organization in where we put important things in the highlights and so forth. So I don't have to like scroll through 700 posts to find something that was last year or the year before. So it's more as in like organizing what has been there, seeing where for improvement, and
All right, so Daneel, are you in here? I'm not sure I'm seeing Daneel. I'm gonna kick one of you guys. Celine, I'm gonna kick you so I'll have Daniel come in to ask her questions. So Daniel, if you're watching this on YouTube Live, I know that there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm gonna send a message in the group chat so you can ask your questions. In the meantime, if any other exec member have any question for her, or Jadian, if you gathered any question from the speeches segment, you can let us know and you can present them. Oh, Daniel is here. Okay. So Daniel has the.
Hi, Janeil.
oh,
Not sure if Brianna had mentioned it previously as I was having some technological difficulties. I said the word go, but the same question is I know you, so I know your personality, right? Howsoever, most
yeah.
of the club members would not have gotten that chance to interact with you on the same level that I have. So like me knowing you, like I know you have the vibes, I know you show up and show out to all the events, but how do you plan on showing the club members that side of you?
Well, everything requires putting a step forward and initiative. It was required of me before to put a step forward and be interactive with the club. It's now required of me if elected to do that. So if it's a requirement of the job, it will be done.
Okay, I strongly believe that. The other question is, as it relates to the social media management aspect, do you have any suggestions or any ideas other than putting the important stuff in the highlights? But do you have any plans in place to improve or increase the engagement of our members across our various platforms?
Hmm. Like, I remember what Shamar was saying about like improve, like what he said about you guys having a Snapchat. Like, I disagree with that. Like, you guys stressing yourself in across every social media platform because Snapchat is similar to Instagram. So having club involvement there, I don't deem that as in a very necessary step to take. But in regards to improvement with members on Instagram, um doing questionnaires, asking questions, probably creating little games for them. I have no idea, but if it's to be done, it will be done.
Okay, thank you, Janelle.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Daniel.
That's my last question.
Okay, all right, great.
Cool.
So, any other questions from any other exec board? Let us know in the private chat so I can add you and you can ask your questions. Jadian, yes, I see Jadian has a question. I'm gonna add Jadian.
Okay, there we go. Hi, Janeil. Do you have any experience creating promotional media, flyers, editing videos? Hello?
I think she might be having. Janeil, are you with us now? You can hear us? You froze for a bit there. Are you with us, Janeil? I think she's back. Okay, try again. Jadian, you can ask the question again.
Hi, Janeil. I'm on she's really back. Let me know if you can hear me.
Hello, Jaden.
Okay, all right. Do you have any experience creating promotional media, such as flyers or experience editing videos?
Okay, you're breaking up. I can't hear you. Yeah.
Okay, since we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, I'm going to remove, Daniel, if you can hear me, I'll remove you from the chat and you can rejoin through the same link so that hopefully when you come back, the difficulties.
Sorry, I'm not
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? All right, I'm gonna, Daniel? All right, I'm gonna remove you and then add you, ask you to rejoin, okay? All right, she seems to be having a little bit of technical difficulties. For that, I'm gonna ask her to rejoin so that Jadian can pose her last question before we move on to the secretary. Hopefully she'll be able to see my message right now and we'll be able to come back just before okay. No, that's a Roma. Roma, we're not completely ready for you as yet. You can stay though because Janeil's question will be different from yours. Janeil?
Let me know if you can hear.
What? Repeat that?
I wanted to know if you could hear me.
Hearing you, but it's kind of distorted.
Okay. All right. My question was whether or not you have experience creating promotional media or editing videos, making flyers.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do have experience with graphic designing. I did art in high school, and that was one of my areas, graphics and painting. So I have experience with digital as well as choosing fonts, colors, and so forth. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Jadian. Thank you, Janeil. Despite the hiccup, I'm happy that you were able to answer the question and all the best for the rest of the election period, okay? Please take care and stay COVID free. All right, so our next person, she's already here in the waiting room, Roma. Hi, Roma.
Hi,
How are
lovely
you?
people. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. I just want to congratulate you because you are the general secretary because you ran uncontested.
Thank
But we still
you.
want to ensure that put no doubt in the minds of the viewer, not the viewer as well, in the minds of our club members that you are definitely the right person for this job. Okay,
Right,
so
of course.
how well do you work under pressure?
I'd like to think I work well. I had to juggle 3 leadership positions as well as my CAPE subjects in upper sixth. So I kind of have a knack for time management and doing my best to get things done.
Okay. Um, The post of general secretary, as I can assure you that Celine will be able to tell you that
Mhm.
it is a very, very,
Yeah.
very demanding job. I currently ask Celine to do something in the middle of the night, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and I can count on the fact that she'll be there and she'll be able to answer to my message and get it done, especially given the fact that it is time sensitive. Are you able to do that? Or will you able to do that?
I mean, I understand time sensitivity. I do have a very efficient attitude in terms of getting things done quickly. I usually sleep. I don't do the no sleep. I don't know how you guys do that. I am hats off to you guys. But once I see it, once I've got to get it done, it will get done.
Okay. All right. So, you mentioned that. Okay. What other skills? Because I know based off your
Mhm.
resume, you're very involved, very
Yeah.
out there in terms of being in the activities. What skills have you garnered from those positions that would help you to effectively be the best general secretary ever?
Well, as I mentioned, time management,
Uh-huh.
because,
Apart from the ones that we already discussed
yeah,
about time management and being reliable.
right. Organization skills. I had to do a lot of reports, writing as well in terms of handing in reports, letting them know of how things went. I had to also send out sponsorship letters, so I have experience with writing those as well. I'm very determined. Yeah, I'm very determined. If things do hinder or cause hiccups, I'm not afraid to ask for help. I'm not afraid to try a different strategy, and just overall, just a positive attitude towards things.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna open the floor to our current secretary, Celine Josephs.
Sure.
I'm wondering if she has any questions. Celine, you have any
Hi,
questions?
Celine.
Or Roma?
Sorry, let me get them.
All right, I'll be gone.
How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good too, thanks.
Okay, so what is your greatest weakness?
I have a fear of failure, but in the past 2 years, I've learned to take that anxiety that comes with it and try and use that energy into something more productive. So, like preparing, I do that a lot. I prepare a lot in advance. I meditate. I just try to get things done. So my biggest weakness is that anxiety that comes with, oh my God, I'm gonna fail.
I completely understand. Okay, so the next question, what do you think you will struggle with most as secretary?
I think it will be the workload because I've done secretary before, and it's not that it's not difficult. It's it's demanding. However, the reason I say workload is because next year, first semester, I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how it's going to be given this whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
So, based on the uncertainty that surrounds it, that's my thing, the workload.
Okay, yeah, that was my last question.
Oh, thank you. And good luck for your campaign.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roma. I think that was all for my questions because just want to own in on the fact that we want to ensure that in this position you'll
Right.
be able to handle it well and be able to do well as the next general secretary. Wait, hold on. One other question I have for you.
Sure.
Oh, let me take off Celine. Sorry. Um, in your speech, you mentioned that you wanted to revamp the emails.
Yeah.
How do you plan to do that? What can you do that's better than what we already have?
I mean, what we have is amazing. As I mentioned in the speech, you guys have done amazing and it's very inspirational. And all I want to do is work on what you guys already have in place. So I know that a lot of people use MailChimp.
to just to make it more physically appealing. So because we are in the whole COVID situation, we don't want to lose member engagement. So maybe if we can make the emails more attractive, people will be more inclined to read. You know, the whole thing with society nowadays, people really doesn't like to read. They don't like to read at all. So if we can find a way to make our memorandums more attractive, maybe we will keep our members more engaged.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
I don't think there. Oh, Jadian.
Yeah, she's
Jadian
waking
has
up.
a question.
No problem.
I'm gonna add her to the screen right now.
Hi.
Okay, you mentioned tracking members' attendance online right now.
Right.
How do you plan to account for persons who may not have reliable internet access or may not be able to access the meetings in real time?
Well, just like with Janeil a while ago, I was going to suggest maybe we could call her in physically, either on WhatsApp or if she has better Wi-Fi connection for a WhatsApp call, or just a regular call. So even if somebody's attempting to join or meeting, let's say, and they're unable to because of whatever reason, I think we should still honor their efforts. So it doesn't take much to, probably maybe create a WhatsApp group or, something like that just to reach out to them. I wanted to try and find an application that's more reliable than Google Forms, but until I find one, that would be my suggested.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you too.
All right. Thank you, Jadian. That is it for the questions for Roma. Thank you so much and all the best in your future endeavors as being the next General Secretary.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you. Bye. Stay COVID free.
That's the plan.
Bye. Okay, so the last set of candidates we have are Donjah and Celine. So, in contrary to what we've been doing so far, both candidates will be questioned at the same time. So, both I can't speak. This has been going on for so long. But yeah, both Donjah and Celine will be on the screen at the same time and we'll bounce questions back and forth between the two. We might ask them to answer the same question. One goes first, one goes second. And yeah, and for Savanah, the reason why she's not in this question and answer segment now is because she's also running for president. So we would do one thing for her with the president's Q&A. So I'm currently waiting on Donjah. I can add Celine to the stream right now. Currently waiting on Donjah so that we can start asking questions and get this over with as soon as possible because we've been going on for so long. Okay. Alrighty. I see Donjah in the waiting room. Let me add her. Alrighty. Okay. Here we go. Hi, Donjah. Hi, Celine. Welcome, welcome. All right. So my first question for both you guys, you can choose whoever wants to go first. But if a club member comes to you with a formal complaint about an exec member, how would you handle that? Celine or Donjah, anybody can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So you said if a club member comes to me about another exec member.
Yes, a formal complaint. Not just a, oh my gosh, I don't want Brianna, but I like Brianna, but like a formal, strict complaint about an exec member. How would you handle that?
Okay. An exec, if a regular member would go through like making a formal complaint, I think that me being on the exec board already would know what was the situation already. So I would have an idea that if that exec member was having an issue, like I would already have an idea. So the regular member bringing that complaint to me would just solidify that there's actually something going on. And then I'd bring that complaint to the rest of the executive members and say, okay, guys, this is what's happening. One of our members is complaining. We need to sort this out. Either it is that we need to inform that exec member of their behavior or whatever it is that they did wrong. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Give me a minute. We have Savanah and Daneel in the waiting studio. I'm kicking them because I don't want them to hear the possible questions that might be transferable to them as well. So Daneel, you can go ahead with your answer.
All right. So in the event that the club member would have submitted a formal request, one, I would first seek to speak that club member, find the behind what was really going on, and then depending on the severity of the issue, I would bring it to the council, the executive committee. We would have a discussion based on it, and based on the severity, we would then speak to such exec member and decide whatever course of action is best moving forward.
Okay. All right. So the next question for both of you guys, either one of you can answer. So the VP is in charge of the school visit program. What would you do to make this initiative better?
All right, so as I would have mentioned earlier, one thing that I would like to do is re-energize the school visitation program. I was allowed to be a part of a visit this year. Well, last year it was to my alma mater, and I realized that only one was done after that. And I personally thought that if when I was in high school, if I had gotten that opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
learn more about the club, to have a better idea of understanding, and to also know that there's a group out there for me, that when I choose to take on this part, there's a support system there for me and there are persons that I can rely on. So to one, expand the reach of the visitation program, and to also reach schools that probably don't know about actuarial science, because they have many persons who don't even know what actuary is. So
Mm-hmm.
to enlighten them, to bring them up to speed with what it is, and to encourage them to embark on the journey.
All right. Thank you, Celine.
Yes, so I actually do agree with Danya. With the school visit program, I realized that we started off really well. Like we were going every week and we were visiting the students, but then after a while, it wasn't as consistent, and I don't think it was our fault. As in, I don't know. So there was some communication issue with the schools, and to make it better, like I've realized that it's actually not a lot of members that actually go on these school visit runs. If the members actually knew like how they impacted the different schools, they would actually, I feel like they would actually really want to be a part of that, because I've actually seen some students who were in high school, and when they actually came to UA, they said, "Oh my gosh, I saw you guys when you came to my school," and it really moved them to see that
Mm-hmm.
there was actually a program that they could be a part of where everybody helps each other and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thank you. This question is specifically for Donya. So, being the vice president is basically a mainly supportive role towards the president. So, as one can imagine, being reliable is a big thing. So, for instance, if you're presented with a scenario where the president has an important function to attend on a Saturday and she met into an accident, per se, I'm not calling an accident on any future president or anything, I'll allow that bus to pass. But she met into an accident and she asked you to fill in for her, and you also have an exam an hour before the event, and you also have an assignment that's due the next day in the morning, first thing in the morning. How would you handle that situation?
All right. Firstly, I believe that time management is something that is very important and will play a crucial role in the acceptance of any executive position. If it is that I know my role as the vice president and my role is to support the team, whether it be president or the other exec members, I know that I will always need to be on standby. So in the event that something like that happens, I would, knowing about the event from before, I would have said, okay, if anything and the president can be there, or if anything else you want me to come in and assist or whatever, I know that I will schedule myself and ensure that I don't leave things to the last minute to the point where I wouldn't be able to. Or as we are as a team, if there is any other member that would be able to step in, because as much as yes, you're the vice president, but at the end of the day, we're one unit. So even if the president might not be able to be there, if somebody else is able to fill in for whatever function or responsibility it is, then
All right. Thank you, Donjah. Celine, I have a specific question for you as well. Same follow-up question of the same nature. Being reliable is a big thing, and say for instance, the president asks you to fill in for her, not an event per se, but for a meeting with the principal of UWI, and you have an assignment that's due on. Say for instance, the meeting is on Thursday, but you have an assignment that's due the 1 hour before, and you have an econ quiz the Friday, and you haven't read the ManQ, plus you have a SAM exam in Friday afternoon as well. How would you be able to manage that?
Well, seeing that I've actually suffered with time management a little, that would be a really tough situation for me, to be honest. But because of how the exec is, like we plan out what exactly it is that we're going to do. So I would have already known about the event and about the assignments and tests as well. I don't think I'd leave anything to be last minute like that. That would be crazy. Um, yeah. So and if I'm not able, which I don't really think that would be the case, but if I'm not able to fill in, then yeah, I would say another exec member could help me as well. Your mic is
Brianna, you
muted.
might be muted.
I'm sorry, the buses keep on passing, so I was trying to eliminate the extra noise in between you guys speaking. But this question is specifically for Donjah. We all know that second year is one of the most difficult periods of our life. I can attest to that. The second years can attest to that. How do you plan, or how do you think you'd be able to manage such a demanded position, especially given the fact that you have no prior experience being on the executive board?
All right. Based on prior experiences that I've had in other organizations and other committees, as I would have stated before, time management plays a very crucial role. The job or the position being demanded, yes, being demanding, yes, it is. But I believe that if I'm able to properly structure how I do stuff in terms of club stuff, regarding school, regarding if I'm able to properly manage how I do them, then I think that I will be able to perform at best capacity. Because it's not a case where I'm not used to being or not used to having to work, having a lot of other stuff going on. As I would have said earlier, I'm very involved. So I think those experiences would have prepared me to know how best to manage my academics, my social life, as well as with the position and other things.
All right. Also, I note that from your resume, I think you were head girl for Alpha as well. Congrats on that. I'm pretty sure you did well. But there is a transition from the way we do things in high school and how we do things in university. And just specifically zooming in on the point that you have really no, well, not that I know of, or not that's reflected on your resume, no experience in a leadership position at the university. How, apart from what you said already, how else do you plan to manage that, especially given the fact that Saturdays are kind of tricky for you as well?
Well, I yes, I may not have the prior experience, but I think that I'm open. I am ready and willing to learn and to perform at my best ability. Yes, second year will be demanding, and yes, I will face not I wouldn't say challenges, but yes, there will be times where I won't be able to be there on a Saturday, but it's not something that hasn't been done before. It's not something that cannot be done. So I'm willing to step up to the plate and to overcome it.
All right, thank you, Donjah. This question is for Celine. How would you rate your performance on the executive board 2019-2020 on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most?
Okay, I would rate myself an 8 because I really did do all the responsibilities to the best of my ability. And as I said in my speech, I really did prioritize club stuff over my own personal responsibilities. And the reason why I say 8 and not like a higher number is because I actually did suffer a little bit in terms of my academics. I wasn't able to fix my schedule in a way where I could excel both academically and in my role as general secretary. But I'm still learning on how to manage both because I'm still doing it right now. But yeah, 8.
All right, thank you, Celine. I think you're being quite generous when you say 8, but that's okay. Just a general question for generous in a good sense, as if personally from working with you, I would rate you more. But just a general question for both of you guys. If you have an idea for the club and the president shoots you down for some reason or another without really an explanation, what would you do in a situation like that? Any one of you guys can go first.
Okay, so okay. So I would talk to the president and find out why exactly it is they would shoot down my idea. I mean, the whole point of being on the executive board, being a team, is that we should work together and hear each other's perspectives and ideas and everything. So I wouldn't understand why the president would just shoot it down. So I tried to have a conversation and have the president explain why exactly they don't want to hear me out.
Right. I think firstly,
Yeah.
as the executive committee, we'd be able to have such a relationship, a good working relationship at least. If in the event that someone is wrong, or if, for example, I bring an idea and you don't like it, we're able to discuss it and flesh it out. And not only that, at the end of the day, we are a committee. So yes, she or she is the president. However, it is a body, and I would bring that idea to the body. We then weigh the pros and cons, and then if it is that idea most definitely cannot work, then we all agree on that.
All right, thank you so much. I think that's it for my questions. I'm gonna add Shemar to the stream right now, the current vice president, to ask his questions. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Hope you all are doing fine. So, my question is, so being the vice president, you have one of the senior positions in the club, and you're one of those executive members that's expected to be at the forefront of the activities, especially if the president is not there. So, let's say the president is not there, for example, and this requires urgent attention, and basically, you have to muster up any courage within yourself to speak to a administrator regarding that issue. So it could be for whatever reason that you may be shy and not wanting to talk to individuals and not be outgoing, or it could be that you personally don't like the administrator don't personally like you. So just in general, what would be your take on that? Anyone can
Well,
go first.
well, I've had a similar experience to what you're describing, where I was responsible for going to an administrator for something that was urgent for one of our tasks on the executive board. And the truth is, I was shy because I don't want to, because I represent the club. I don't want my actions to be reflected on the club in a bad light. So I would, at the end of the day, I would have to do it because I'm in this role. So I would, courage up, brave up, and just get it done.
Right. And I
Yeah, I'm
agree with
finished.
Celine. As vice president, one of your responsibilities will be in any event to whether approach administrator, the club in general, anybody. So I mean, it would be necessary for me to be able to say, okay, Daniel, it is time now. We need to fill in our. It's time to fulfill your responsibilities and just go in and do it, and in the best way possible. reflect the club in a good image.
Nice.
You
So,
mentioned if in the case where I don't like the person or the administrator doesn't like me, I think when I go to represent the club, it's not about Danya. So it's the club I'm representing. So whatever differences we may have, that is not me and you talking. It's you and the club talking.
gotcha. So another question would be, as I mentioned, the vice president, you'd have to, you're one of the most senior positions. So how do you plan to create a safe environment, a very amicable environment for your fellow executives in which there is little or no tension between or among each other?
All right. So first of all, we're all human beings. We all have different personalities. We all are not going to always get along. But I think the executive committee and what I've seen so far is that we have a bond, or you guys have a bond. And I think this executive coming up, we would try our best to create that bond that even in the event that there are differences or there are problems, we can be able to come together and say, all right, this is a problem, what and how best to move forward without it affecting the running of the club.
Yes. So yeah, back to what I was saying. We are a team. Like at the end of the day, we have to work together, and I agree with what Danya said. Or the bond that this current executive board has, I really think it's a tight one, and I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to actually be a part of it. And I love that we're all friends. But for the incoming executive board, I know that some of us might not know each other as well as we do the previous, but I don't think that would be a big problem because we will get to know each other. We'll have to work together, and I don't think I think that if we're working together, we should be able to bond and sort out disagreements. Like it shouldn't be a big deal.
Okay, okay. Thank you. I believe that's all the questions I
I'm
have right now.
finished.
I'm mute again. I'm sorry. Thank you, Shamar. Do we have any other questions from the current executive board? Any other questions? You can let me know in the chat at the side, or you can PM in or group chat. JD, do we have any questions? Alyssa, any questions from anybody? Okay, I see that there are no questions there. Thank you so much. You guys did well, and all the best with the voting and the rest of the election period. And please stay safe and COVID free, okay? All right, bye,
JD
guys.
and you too.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're heading into the last segment. Let me inform the two presidential candidates that they can join now. But this is the last segment. I didn't intend for this to be going on this long. But we're on the last stretch. Last stretch, and we're about to get everything done and everything posted. We'll have to adjust the time in the description box for the new time slots that were utilized. So sorry again, my apologies, and I hope you guys are sticking throughout this period. So yes, Savanah is here, so I'm waiting on Daneel. Okay, all right, and Daneel is having some technical difficulties, so Daneel?
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, so she's having some technical difficulties, so unfortunately, we won't have any video feed from her. But okay, let's just jump straight into it. The first question is, how would you guys rate yourself On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, your performance from being on the executive body for 2020-2021 academic year.
Anyone first?
Yeah, you can go.
All right. For myself, I'd give myself an 8. Setting out, I remember most of the all of the promises that I made when I was running for EAC. I believe I executed most of them, and I executed them well. Where I fell short was there was one point in particular. I believe I mentioned it in my speech. I wanted to kickstart the. I wanted to start up the not tutorial, like marathon, sorry, for exams. But when I had started this, I think I had started execution too late and I was unable to find anyone. Well, I found people, but their timetable didn't mesh well with the timetables that we had because, AXA is very hectic. But apart from that, I believe the initiatives that I started and the ones that I continued were well executed.
Daneel, you can go ahead.
Okay, so the first time I heard this question a couple months ago, honestly, I gave myself a 8. But while reflecting and preparing for this speech, I am going to humbly increase that number because I genuinely believe I went above and beyond the call of the position. I have achieved everything I stated out to do and more, whilst keeping up with my academics, whilst assisting wherever I could on the exec, and whilst just putting my all into it. Case in point was the whole YouTube channel. That was not no one. We did not plan to do that. And the fact that the whole COVID-19 pandemic happened, it shifted the normal operation of the society. And I believe that as PRO, my portfolio includes keeping engagement with the members and just to have conceptualized that idea and figured out how to still keep in contact with the members along with my current exec because you guys are amazing. But along with the current exec, I believe that I have achieved everything I set out to do and more. So a 9.
Okay, all right, thank you. Another question for both of you guys. If you have a situation where an exec member is not pulling their weight, how would you deal with that? Any of you guys can go first.
You want me to go first since you? Yeah, I'll just go first. Okay. If an exec member is not pulling their weight, as the president, I would speak to them one away, as in not in the exec meeting. I would speak to them one off at first, point it out to them, just highlighting like, John Brown, you know that your portfolio says that you should do this and this by this time, and the club is depending on you, and I would pretty much have like a warning system. So it would really only just be one warning because we're all adults and we all agreed to do something. So I don't believe that if we're all in the same age group, I should be constantly behind you like, yo, John, remember you have to do this. Howsoever, we are humans as well. So things may arise. So I would bring it up to John Brown individually and also have a contingency plan in place just in case John Brown do pull his weight, but we can't have the society suffering because John Brown doesn't do what he should do. And then if it's a case that after that it doesn't improve, then I will table it in an exec meeting and have my other team members put their input on the situation. So it's not like a Daneel thinking that John Brown should be doing more, and it's more of a John Brown is just not doing what he stated that he would do.
Thank you, Daneel. Savanah?
Okay, so if an exec member isn't pulling their weight, firstly, I think the first step, as Daniel said, is to address them one-on-one. You can't come and confront them like this big doomsday thing in a meeting. It will seem like an attack, and that doesn't help. So firstly, I'd address them one-on-one, ask what's happening. If there's a personal reason, try to address it. Even if there is, try to see if there's some way that we can fix it. If it's the case that it's not improving after a while, I'm going to need to bring it to the board and ask their advice on it as well. And like I said in my speech, if that happens, it won't be fit. While you're dealing with that, there are things that still need to be done. So let's say that the PRO is the one slacking. We still need to post things on the Instagram. EAC is the one slacking. We still need to have these events planned. So I believe that I am well versed in all of the portfolios to pick up that slack while this is being addressed. So yes, so to the point where they don't improve and we'll bring it to the meeting, I'd have to address them in that general setting, because even though it might be a personal matter, it affects the entire unit, and when you fall short, it affects everybody else's portfolio. So at that point, if it's still not fixed, in the constitution it says that if in case something isn't being done, like a portfolio isn't being, properly held, or one of the exec members is relieved of their duties, we'll have the 3 weeks to bring on somebody else. So I would have that in the back of my mind thinking, okay, who are the other people that ran for this position? Who else is capable? Because it might come to the point where, okay, the position just is not being done any at all, and we don't want the club to suffer and all of the execs suffer. But that would be like a last case scenario where they're just not listening to me, not listening to the exec, and we both come to the conclusion, or we all come to the conclusion that it just can't work for this year, and maybe they can just step down to the committee and give somebody else a position. But hopefully it wouldn't come to that, and it will be fixed during the first confrontation or conversation.
All right, thank you so much. My next question is that being president, it is a very time-consuming job. You have to be both the face of the club as well as being able to put in the work behind the scenes, so you can actually graduate school in addition to doing the admin work that is accompanied with being president. How do you plan to manage that, especially given the rating that you gave yourself and your current performance? I've expressed this to you guys both from before, from last year.
So in terms of time management, I believe I've been on a steady increase in that part of my life. I did start at a questionable rate, even though I still got things done. Things can always be improved. And I think I've been improving from deputy EAC to EAC and now to where I am today. Last semester, there were some very high points and there were some lower points in when when you compare them. So my lower points would be the things that I didn't get to get done, like the marathons or other mini projects. But the higher points would be like the Hope Valley project and all the 5Ks and all the other events, or all the things that we work together on as an exec. Coupled with that, I believe I do a lot of things behind the scenes. I help different people with their portfolios. They always come to me for advice. And at the same time, while juggling all of this, I was a lab technician, so I had that job to do as well. I was also a mentor, and I wasn't lackadaisical about it, because I really appreciated mine, because they helped me to become who I am today. So I was very on them with school and everything. And also, I managed to keep my grades up at an above average GPA. Yes, so I think I have the balance and I have the time management, but obviously it's not 100% there, but I do see and I do acknowledge where I am improving.
Daneel?
Okay, so the question was, how do we plan to manage presidency with our schedules and how we rated ourselves?
Schedules and how you rated yourself, in addition to not only being the face of the club, but being able to put in the admin work behind the scenes, because there are a lot of stuff that goes, you're not just the face of the club. You have to be able to put in the groundwork into the position.
Okay, all right. So with that, I'm going to speak on my time management skills. Quite frankly, to date, I think I have a schedule or a routine that works immaculately. I'm going to give an example. Case in point, over the last 2 days, starting with Thursday, I was in classes all day, went straight into the class, to another meeting with my fellow guild members, going into today in classes straight from 9, classwork meetings, still keeping my grades up, and then being a part of this interview. I genuinely like to be busy. Um, I think it's because I like carrying out the tasks that are expected of me, and I like doing them without being asked. So if it's a case that I am instructed to do X, Y, and Z, or it's expected of me to do X, Y, and Z, regardless of how busy my schedule is, I will always fit in time to make my what do you call it now? To make sure that I accomplish those goals. In addition to that, my coursework, my grades have been to the best of my ability. I have not allowed the society or my other obligations to crowd upon my academic time. My friends can tell you guys on the exec have seen when it's study time, it's study time. When it's club time, it's club time. When it's math rep time, it's math rep time. So it for me, it just comes down to priorities and utilizing the 24 hours in my day as best as possible.
All right, thank you, Daneel. Shamar Henry has a question. I'm going to add him to the stream, and then
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
Henry.
So it's just my one question. Yes. So let's say that there has been a bad relationship between you and a organization, whether it may be a company, a club at UA, something with the UA administration, something in the mass department. There's just like a bad relationship, or there's just some disagreement between you and that party. How do you plan as the head of the UA Actuarial Society to remedy the situation so that your club will not be in a worse off situation?
Okay. So I'm assuming that based on the question, it's a bad personal relationship between me and the
Yes,
individual.
yes, my
Okay. Um. So at the end of the day, we both have a job to do, both me as the president and the other person as whatever organization they are representing. And I would hope that they could put personal feelings aside and we can carry out the task at hand. Speaking from my end, I have been in numerous situations like that. So you have to remember that at the end of the day, this is not going to benefit you as a person. You are doing this for the society. So you have to put personal feelings aside, be respectful, um, be understanding. If it's a case where I was in error, you go through the right not precautions, you go through the right procedure, you apologize, you just keep it professional because I cannot stress this enough. I am not doing myself a favor. Like this does not benefit me as an individual. This is for the continued growth of the society. And I would hope that whatever personal discrepancies I have would not hinder the club or the society's ability to function to the best of its ability.
Okay. Thank you for the question. Um, First of all, I think there are two very important things when you're the head of a club. You need to have respect and you need to have maturity. So wait, just to clarify, are you saying I'm the one with the bad relationship with someone?
Could be you, it could be the other person. Like you may not know if they're
Mm-hmm.
like if they have a bad relationship with you, and they might not know if you have a bad relationship, or you both could have a bad relationship with each other, and you both know of it.
Okay, so there's some tension there. Okay, so I believe that even if there are feelings there, there's some negative feelings there. That's your personal life. You need to separate it from the work. Yes, as you said, at the end of the day, we have work to do. And you still, even if that's not the case, even if it's regular life, you need to have respect for people at the end of the day, and you need to have some level of maturity. If somebody hurts you, you don't just grudge them up and make that affect all of your day, all of your duties, all of the responsibilities that you have in your life, because that's not affecting them, that's affecting you. And in my case, that won't just affect me, that will affect my club, my members, the exec, everybody. It's going to trickle down. So I believe if there's any tension there, it's best not to ignore it because then it will fester. And even if work is getting done, it's not going to be done at the best efficiency that it can be, the best quality that it can be done. Because yeah, both of us are gonna think, yeah man, I don't like her, but I still gotta do my job. But I don't want us to just do our job just to take more. I want it to be the top quality job. So I would work on bettering that relationship. I would approach them, even if I'm the one in the wrong, because this is not my personal life anymore. As I said, it's affecting other people. So even if I'm the one in the wrong, I may have to just suck it up and just approach them first and say, hey, what's happening? We need to address this. It's affecting the quality of our work. It's affecting how we're communicating with each other. It's not healthy on either ends. So I want to evaluate the situation, rectify it so that we can move on and be better. And maybe the relationship can be even stronger and better in the future.
Okay, thank you both.
Thanks, Henry.
all right, thank you, Henry. Okay, so my next question, it is for Savanah. So there are instances on the last exec board where I've noticed some cases of unreliability that, as you said, you fell short in some aspect. And as a vice president, that has to be something that you take pride in and you own up to, and you are able to be a shoulder for the president to lean on. Or if you are the president, you have to be the shoulder, or you have to be that person for the club. So if this has been an issue in the past, why should I vote for you?
Okay, so as I addressed in the cover letter that I sent, I do acknowledge my shortcomings, and what I mentioned before, I do acknowledge my shortcomings, and I have been working on it. Actually, I've spoken to multiple people, my friends, my mentors from the society. I've bettered my relationship with people. I've tried to, because even though the work life is separate from the personal life, they are interconnected in some way. Because we're still one unit, one human. So I try to work on that aspect of my life so that it wouldn't trickle down. And I have put measures into place. I don't know if it would be appropriate for me to go into all of that now, but I have put measures into place, and I have worked on it, and I have seen a drastic improvement in my personality, my time management, my organization, my reliableness. I've improved my communication, my work ethic. I don't think my work ethic was struggling from before. I think the problem was the personal life part trickling in, and the fact that I'm so passionate about things. And even though the members see it as a positive thing here, which it is, it's a double-edged sword sometimes. So when things don't work out, all that passion may come out in a different way. So I have worked on that very hard, time and time and time again, especially during this time. And I believe I've greatly improved. And the unreliableness, I don't think, while I do acknowledge it as an issue from the past exec, I don't think it was a major issue, but even a minor issue can be a major issue. Yes, I recognize that. So I have worked on it, and I have rectified it to the best of my knowledge. And I have spoken to people to get their insight, because you might think that you've done well or improved on something, but I have spoken to people and gotten their insight and see what they think, and they have agreed with me as well.
All right, thank you, Savanah. Okay, so this question is for Daneel. Say that you are calling a company to ask about sponsorship and they're completely disrespectful to you. What would you say to them before you hang up?
Okay, so they're completely disrespectful to me while I'm asking for sponsorship.
Yes, they're completely disrespectful, not trying to hear what you have to say, and completely disrespectful. What would you say to them before you hang up?
Okay, so before I hang up, first of all, I'd like to thank them for taking the time out of their busy schedule to at least answer my call and, entertain the conversation that I'm trying to have. I would apologize if maybe I conveyed my message in a disrespectful manner, which probably had triggered their response. And then after that, I would again I thank them again, because you always have to thank them. They are the ones doing us a favor. I'm not doing them a favor. So thank them for taking the time out. Apologize for being disrespectful. Thank them again, and I'd end the calls that I hope that in the future we could have another discussion about this at a time that's mutually convenient for them. Because as I said, we're all humans, and maybe something is going on personally, or they're just not in the right space to hear me at that point. Would not take it personal, would not reply in a disrespectful manner either. Because at the end of the day, I am not representing Daneel Nichol. I am brand UWIAS Actuarial Society. And they're not going to remember Daneel Nichol said. They're going to say, the president from AXA did say. And at the end of the day, we don't want to leave a bad taste in company's mouth of our society. So just keeping it respectful and apologizing and thanking them for their time.
All right, thank you guys. Okay, so this is a general question to both of you guys. So, as president, you find yourself in the position of being the AXI rep. Wait, give me a minute. Okay, sorry about that. As president, you find yourself in the position of being the quote unquote AXI rep, and you have to rally on behalf of the students in say for instance, if you have to start a petition, you have to start a petition. If you need to responsibly and reasonably challenge authorities, you need to responsibly and reasonably challenge authorities. And you need to need to be able to do what's best in terms of being the representative of the students. So what have you done in the past from your own initiative to genuinely help students? Both of you guys. Question for both of you guys.
All right. So, in the past, I have not been in a position where I would need to rally against, well, not, let me not say rally against an authoritative figure, but, bring up that kind of thing. However, there was a problem with one of our teachers, and it has been for years now. It has been said that they've been targeting actual science students. So I did, even though I was not the one placed in charge of the sign up sheet, the registration sheet, or the petition per se, yes, I did encourage people to fill it out, tell them, ask people for their opinions and everything. I gave my own opinion because I don't think it's right for you to talk about somebody in the background and voice your complaints in the background, but when something can be done and your voice can be heard and it's actually going to rectify the situation, it doesn't make sense to be silent then, because then you're not helping the situation and it might make it worse for people coming after you. So I did put my voice on that petition, and I did encourage people to join in as well. And I have no problem rallying up the members of the society in a respectable manner to address any ill treatment or miscommunication or any issues with the authoritative figure. Because at the end of the day, when it's just one student going against with themselves against a teacher, it's gonna be, you have the authoritative figure and it's one student. But if it's a thing where it's actually very important, I do think, even if it's not a full petition, it helps when you have the president of the actual society, as you said, the actual science rep behind you. Obviously, I wouldn't just say, okay, what him say? No, all right, we're gonna fight the person. No, I would investigate what's happening. I'd want to get both sides of the story, even though most likely I won't be able to get the teacher side, but I'd want to know if there are witnesses there, what's happening. Is it a recurring thing? Is it major enough to bring to the dean per se, to bring back to the teacher, to bring back to anybody? And if it does get to that point, I have no problem taking action. And as I said, you'd have to do it in different ways based on the situation in a respectable manner. So I would never disrespect the teacher. And if it doesn't call for a big rallied group and all that attention, I wouldn't that, because you don't want to hear that actual society is a war boat or love pick fight or is disrespectful. So if it can be done with a one-on-one thing with me, the head of the actual science department and the person, and speaking to that teacher or lecturer, that would be perfect. If it can't be done with that and it's a mass spread issue, the petition would be in place. We could bring in the math department. So different things based on the situation.
All right, thank you, Daneel.
All right. So in the past, on the capacity of class rep, I have advocated for the students. I have voiced their concerns that they have to the respective what do you call it, the respective lecturers or the respective persons who should hear the concerns. So that's formally. Informally, even in a small setting as a classroom, we have some lecturers that students are intimidated to speak in that class.
I'm getting a little bit of
Even that
feedback. Yeah, I'm getting
you
a
can
little
hear
bit of
me?
feedback. Can you go closer to like the Wi-Fi or something? Yes, this is better.
Can you
Thanks.
hear me now? Okay, it was just my mic. Guys, I'm poor. Sorry. Um, as I was saying, so informally, even in the classroom settings, that there are certain lecturers that students are afraid to voice their concerns while class is going on. I have always seen myself informally as the voice of the underrepresented. I always believe that no matter how shy you are, no matter how stupid you think the question is, no matter how minuscule you think the problem is, if you don't want to raise it, I will raise it. As long as it is a fair question, it is a fair concern. Um, I don't have a problem having the tough conversations. In the moment, it might feel I might let my emotions sway my I'm just gonna feel bad in the moment. But if it's a conversation that needs to be had, I will have it. Joining in on the petition that Savanah had mentioned, that same lecturer specifically targeted myself. So I made sure to look if there are any other students who were going under the same ill treatment and contacted them.
Yeah, I was just
You can
about
hear
to
me, right?
stop you and tell you that it's a little bit distorted, but you can go again.
Oh, I was saying that for that petition that Savannah had mentioned, I initiated it based on the fact that the students, no, that I felt mistreated by that specific lecturer, and I didn't want it to be a case that the students who were coming after me would be in that same position. So Savannah and I worked on that together, and I made sure that it was a year group problem and not just a Daneel alone feel like this lecturer picking on her, because again I feel like I should be the voice of the underrepresented because everyone deserves to be heard. So that's just a few instances of how I have advocated for my fellow peers in the past.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna open up to the rest of the exec. If you guys have any questions, I have one last question, but I want to interject to give you guys an opportunity to ask your questions if you do have a question. You can indicate in the chat or PM, not PM, message in the group. Yes, no, maybe so. Anybody? Okay, I don't think anybody has a question, so I'm going to pose my last question, which is, if elected as president, what would you do different from me? Both of you guys.
Brianna.
But all right. As mentioned in my speech, I have many ideas put in place. And the first thing which I wanted to say, which I believe I said, is I believe a great foundation was set. Looking into all the portfolios, I truly believe that it was revamped, expanded, and just top notch. So my thing wouldn't be to undo anything, it would just be to build on it, which was my whole Project Beta campaign. So I realized we are a very creative bunch. Every year, people are coming in with new ideas, new ideas, new ideas. But what you don't realize, they're old ideas as well. So this just builds upon the responsibility of the exec, which is why I'd want to introduce or revamp the committees. Because if every year we try to do it, but it always dies down or it's inactive. So that's why I created a list of set duties so that it will never die down. And then if the exec member would need them for anything else, they can just add on to that or take off where they see fit. Apart from that, when I came in first year, I was not comfortable with all the lecturers because coming in from high school, I was told that they're not going to school feed you, they're just gonna come and talk and leave. They don't know you, you're just an ID number. So I was terrified. And that fear or discomfort didn't really die down until closer to the end of the semester. And I know for some people it lasts the whole first year, which can negatively affect your performance or comfortableness in school. So which is why I wanted to have the pre-alpha soiree, which would already be funded because you know that we already cater to the lecturers when we have our alpha meeting. So we get the lecturers to come in and speak to and engage in the games and whatnot, so they see them in a more comfortable setting. So that will encourage the first years to participate more, which I believe will help, the overall feel of first year. It was a lot of ideas.
Just give us two.
Pardon?
Give us two, not
the entire thing.
Yeah, two. I remember you're doing it based off what you would do different from me personally, because I realized that some of the points that you raised in your manifesto, some of them was in motion, but not really, but what you would do different from me.
Mm-hmm. All right, and so all right, this one is the one I want to mention. The increase in attendance of the club members. I know that you really rallied up and you were very present this year. Nobody can take that from you. You tried to be at as many things as possible. You weren't a behind the scenes person, you're like in front. So when people see the president participating, they are encouraged to participate as well. But it doesn't just, I feel like the members need something to push them to continuously be a part of the club, to continuously stay engaged. So while I do think we have excellent club meeting ideas, I think based on the trends which I have realized over the past 2 years, our peak attendance happens during Spirit Week and homecoming time, and then you can see the vibes and everything building up because actually I love competition. We love internal competition and external competition, period. We want to say we are the best. So I want to pit the year groups against each other and pit the houses against each other beyond Spirit Week so that it's not just, all right, we'll win, the semester done. It will continue throughout the year and it will be different things. So there wouldn't be a lull in attendance. But when attendance goes down, views go down, participation in EAC activity go down, the PRO have to work extra hard to re-engage the people. The secretary probably feel like, oh, nobody not reading the emails. They have to try to make it more engaging to recapture everybody's interest. So to avoid that, I'd want to introduce those things. Yes.
All right, thanks, Daneel.
Honestly, Brianna, you were an excellent president. So, and I think that was the hardest part of this campaign because it's like normally when you're running for a position, you know what you're bringing, but you also look at the weak areas of the outgoing exec. And honestly, like I'm not even capping, I could not find 1 point. So my thing is though the is to continue the things we had set in place, the things that were set in motion before the COVID-19 pandemic. Um, just your passion, how you put in with the dinner, your passion with all the other activities that we have. I hope that if elected as president, I can continue that passion so that my members and that my team is inspired to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. Um, honestly, piggybacking off what Savannah said, the committee thing this year, the committees were dreadful. Especially PR, I had to be begging them to cooperate with me. And I don't think that I should be begging you to do something that you signed up for. So I've been communicating with them, asking them what is it that we can do better, and they're not even replying to my personal messages. So it's just I like the idea that someone had mentioned in their speech to have the suggestion box. I believe that we should hear more from our members. That is a valid point. However, I don't think that we are an unapproachable exec. I just think that school comes into play a lot, personal life comes into play a lot, and for some people their priorities are just different. So while AXA is ranked high on our list, it might not be ranked high on theirs. So I do believe that as a club we are doing the best of our ability with member engagement. We can do so much and no more, especially as it comes to dues. We tried everything. It's just the members to find a way to ignite that passion within themselves. Of course, with our help, the same way how I found that passion. In my first year, the first part, I wasn't really interested, mainly because I didn't come to UWI with my year group of friends. So in AXI, I was the only person there, and my other friends did another major. But then when it came around to, what I think the homecoming, homecoming was where I met my friends. Homecoming was where I realized that this is the place that I would like to spend every Thursday, 2 to 3. So I just want to implement an activity earlier in the first semester. Alpha does it, but something else in the middle, like right before Ochi weekend, right before Heroes weekend, to keep the members engaged so that they can find that passion earlier, so that they're more inclined to come to the meeting. So even though every meeting might not be something fun and we're not gonna play games and the karaoke every meeting, but that passion will drive them to come to the informative meetings where they can learn and that they can realize that as a society we have their best interest at heart and everything we do is for the betterment of them.
All right, thank you so much. I think that's it for the questions. I don't see anybody on the exec. Let me just double check my notes so I ensure that I asked all. Oh wait, one question for Savannah. You said that you wanted to have a phone for the club.
Yes.
That was a part of my manifesto in second or one of those years. And upon being elected in the position, I realized that that wasn't really a feasible option or a feasible choice based off the expenses and the upkeep. How do you plan to work around that issue? And especially given the situation with after COVID-19, our finances won't be the same, both for us as an exec or us, you guys as the newly implemented exec, and the companies and like individuals, that we won't be in the same financial position. So how do you plan to work around that, given that the phone is a tricky situation?
Mm-hmm. All right, so I do realize and acknowledge that the phone is a tricky situation. And first of all, acknowledge the financial situation of the club, which is why my first thing was it would not come from the dues or out of the club's pocket. I'm not going to take up the members' money that they put into the club to come buy a phone for us because it's going to look bad, honestly. I spoke to some of the current executive members and asked if they would be willing to, because executive members don't pay dues. So I asked them if they would be willing to start paying dues in the new year, but the dues would go towards. It wouldn't be anything major. It would be like
Oh, you
one.
never asked me.
Same.
Very sorry. Okay, so I asked them if they were willing to pay dues. Initially the response was no, you know, say how much you already put into the society. But when I told them the idea, they realized that it is true that we're too dependent on certain members to always have credit, and then it does affect the smoothness of our meetings when we're not able to access the internet. And I do believe that it just takes us to the next level when we have a set contact number that companies can always reach us from instead of they having a new number each year for different people on the exec. Yeah. So my idea was if we can't get funding and based on the COVID situation, a lot of companies, their financial states are just plummeting right now. But in the event that it doesn't rise back by the time we start school and we can't get back funding, I would want to implement an exec dues. However, it wouldn't be a mandatory thing. Obviously, I'd ask all of the new exec if they're willing, and it wouldn't be like, all right, everybody have to pay this by then or whatever. I'd ask, okay, how much are you willing to pay? At what interval are you willing to pay it? And then based on that, we can see, especially with the help of the treasurer, we can pick out what phone is most feasible and what's the timeline of this. And afterwards, for the upkeep of the phone now, I'd want them to continue to pay dues, and this would pay for a plan for the month. So it wouldn't be always us, all right, put on credit, put on credit, put on credit. When you get the plan for the month, you have unlimited calls and unlimited social media and a good amount of data. So obviously this wouldn't be paid for every single month because I realize that our need to make calls and use the data or access the internet increases and decreases based on what period of the year it is. So closer to the time when we need sponsorship, when we're requesting sponsorship, which would be like during the summer, going into the beginning of the semester and then closer to January time and going down to that's when we want it on a regular basis. So I'd ask them if they're willing to continue paying the dues to help with upkeep of the phone so it's not a burden on one person alone. And obviously all of this would be asked at the same time. I'm not going to ask them after we get the phone, all right, we're still going to pay you the same way to buy the credit. Everything would be bundled together and I present it to the exec. And if they think it's feasible, then it will be executed.
All right, thank you so much. I think that's it for the questions. Do you guys have any question you want to ask me?
You have an HD camera?
It is. Oh my gosh, it actually is. Apart from that, anything else?
I do have a question. What would you tell yourself no? Like if you could go back to past Brianna when she's just starting the position, what would you tell her?
Be ready for anything at all. This position, it is a position where you can be called upon for any and everything. So don't be standoffish to certain opportunities, but take everything as it comes and be ready and willing every single step throughout the along the way. Of course, you guys were nominated for a reason, and you must have certain qualities that would qualify you to be a viable person for the position. But yeah, that's my main thing. Be ready for anything that might come along the way. It don't matter what it might be, just have an open mind because the position is not limited to just leading and managing. There are other aspects that are involved with being president, and you should be open and aware of that. That's why I said that in the question before. It's not just about being the face, it's about putting in the work behind the scenes, because there are a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happen. And yeah, that's my main thing. Another
I had a serious question though.
Mm-hmm.
My serious question was, if you had to pinpoint your favorite event throughout the entire reign as president, which one would that be?
Um, if it was another life before COVID-19, I'm pretty sure that would have been the dinner. But
Oh.
without the dinner, I would have to say homecoming.
What?
3 years in a row we've won, and
My
I was
God.
able and have the opportunity to have an input in that and be able to witness it for 3 whole years in a row. So that's definitely hands down top highlights, best performance, best event ever. So yeah, that's it for me.
I can ask Savannah the same question too, or it's just you we can ask questions?
Sure, you can ask Savannah.
My
That's
favorite
you,
event.
but okay. Mm-hmm.
I love homecoming, but it is also I feel like Spirit Week have it like neck and neck because even though Spirit Week isn't as out there is our little thing.
Yeah.
Members come out is like geez, especially fundraising period. You're like, where them get
Yeah.
out from? Where all this passion come from? All these just show up for football. It's like them they didn't accept, but
Yeah.
they're it's just that like it brings everybody. Like even though some meetings brings everybody together, Spirit Week bring everybody together. And even though we're competing, like on the sports day, even though everybody was competing, it wasn't anything malicious or nothing. Everybody be just love and joy. It was just beautiful. It just made me happy. So I think that would be it.
Daneel, it's only right for you to answer the question as well.
Mine surprisingly is the beach trip. Like
Oh
I
my
loved how
God, I forgot about that.
like I promise you, Spirit Week, I love the whole family aspect of it, but beach trip, it's like you got to see a different side of the members, you got to bond with them better, and
Yeah.
it I don't know, I just love the entire experience of it. Everybody just like let the guard down and just decided that this is not a first year, second year, third year thing. We're all friends and we're here to have fun. And I really love that. That was my favorite thing for the entire
Yes.
year.
I second that. But thank you guys and all the best throughout the rest of the election period and the voting, etc. So bye guys. Thank you. Stay COVID free.
Bye, Brianna. I waving, but you can't see.
Oh, I can't wear. I can't see.
That's what I was saying. I
Oh,
waving.
because you have no camera on. Okay, so we've been on this. Oh, oops, sorry, my mistake. We've been on this for 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm just gonna invite Jadian to do the closing remarks, especially with respect to the voting processes that we have next week. Jadian, are you there?
I'm here. All right, hi guys. Voting is next week, Thursday. We're going to send you a form. The form will be sent to persons who are eligible to vote. Please don't share it with persons who aren't. We're going to send you the form. It will open at 9 a.m. and close at 11 p.m. for everybody who might not have access to internet at different times in the day. So, yeah, that's it. You heard the speeches today. You know who you want to vote for. So, next week when we send you the link, just go ahead and vote for your next exec body.
All right, thank you, Jadian. And please note that if you do send the link to somebody who is not on the voters list, they won't be able to fill it out. Just letting you guys know. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys for sticking with us throughout this new and improved system of elections 2020. And I wish you guys all the best, all the candidates for the voting period, and may the best man win. And all the best for the online classes and all the online stuff. You guys will do amazing. And again, the society is here to help you. If you have any queries or concerns, just let us know. We're here to help you. We got you back. And please stay safe and COVID-19 free, and take all the necessary precaution to keep us safe so that we can be out of this peak period as soon as possible. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give this video a big thumbs up, and we'll definitely see you in a next one. Bye guys.